Super excited, everyone, here for the GHL Engine Summit that's coming up shortly. The GHL Engine Summit is happening in 10 days from the time of this current recording. This is an online mega webinar, which is one event for everything that you need to know on how to succeed with the Go High Level platform. It's a mega webinar June 19th, June 20th, and June 21st from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if you haven't gotten a ticket yet, go to ghlengine.com/summit. Today, I have one of the speakers, Allie Bloyd. Allie, what are you going to be speaking about at the event when you join us at the GHL Engine Summit?
Yes. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. Really excited to be a part of this. I am going to be speaking about paid traffic. So I have been running Facebook ads, Instagram ads, YouTube ads, things like that for a really long time. I personally believe that mastering paid traffic is one of the fastest, easiest ways to grow any business, but definitely SaaS businesses can be grown extremely quickly using these strategies. And so we're going to talk about several different approaches that you can take to start running ads for your SaaS, even if you have very, very little technical experience or you've never run ads before. And then we'll also talk about some strategies for people who are more familiar with paid traffic and they've got things that are potentially a little bit more advanced, a validated offer. They've already got something that's really working well on the back end. And we'll talk about kind of how to pour gasoline on the fire, so to speak. So this is something that will be great for people at every level, whether you're just starting your SaaS or really trying to scale it. I think this is going to be an amazing presentation for you.
If someone is at the starting point of paid traffic, what is a good amount to get started with? Is it the $5,000? Is it 10 grand? Is it 1,000? Is it 100? What's a good starting point for someone who's on their new journey with high level?
Yeah, so I use a process that we call the offer validation ads process. And this would be for somebody who's brand new and their offer itself is not yet validated. And what I mean by that is you have never sold this to anyone other than, potentially people in your network. You don't know if this is an offer that the market is really going to respond to. So what I typically recommend is a strategy that uses a $20 per day per ad budget. And we'll typically have about 8 ads initially when we launch this. So if we were running all of those ads for a full week, that'd be about $700. Typically, though, we're going to be able to turn things off before a week is done. And so the goal of this strategy and approach is to be able to get the quickest feedback possible on, are the ads working? Is the copy, creative, audience, is that working? Then we want to start tracking on the back end as well. So for some people, it could be less than $1,000. Now, it really does depend on the strength of your offer, because if your offer is not working very well, we're going to see that pretty quickly. And then we're going to need to refine that offer and then continue testing. But I have a lot of students in my programs that they're already making multiple sales really quickly within that first week. So we had one of my mastermind members launch this strategy, first time he's ever run ads. He already has, I think, 15 or 16 new clients, and he's acquiring them for $83 a piece. And so he has been extremely profitable, even just on that first month, in the first 2 weeks. So now that he knows his customer acquisition costs, he's going to be able to scale to whatever level he wants to scale as quickly as he wants to do it. And so ultimately, when you know your numbers, how much does it cost you to acquire a customer? You can decide what that budget needs to look like. If you want to go this slow and steady pace and say, okay, we want to make sure things aren't breaking on the customer service side, on the onboarding side, things like that, you can go at a slower rate. But if you're really ready to go hard on this, as long as you get those initial numbers and it says, yes, your offer is validated, things are working well, you're going to continue to optimize over time, but you can spend as much or as little as you want to after that. So I've got somebody else who, they're okay with kind of going a little bit slower initially. And so they're going to keep that, $50 to $60 a day budget, but that's after we've already found ads that are proven to work for him. And he knows that that budget is appropriate for his offer to be able to get the leads and the bookings and the sales that he's looking for.
Is your strategy focusing on like the self-liquidating offer, or is it on customer acquisition cost versus lifetime value?
So there are strategies where you can use a self-liquidating offer or a low ticket offer. That is not what I typically recommend for people who are just getting started. Sometimes it is a good fit and that can actually work really well for SaaS, but you also can go very direct with the offer as well. So if you have not sold this directly online with no conversation, I usually recommend you start by sending them to at least a 15-minute discovery style call, or it could be a 30-minute demo call. The goal would be to shift into selling it direct online with no human involvement. But ultimately, if you haven't done a lot of that with cold traffic, you really want to get the objections that people have, the questions that they're asking, making sure that the messaging is in fact working well before you shift it to that model. And so it can be just a really simple direct offer to a booking. It can be a trial offer. It could be a self-liquidating offer. So there's a couple of different models that we'll cover in my presentation. And this ultimately will give everybody the opportunity to say, okay, here are the options that could work. Here are the different factors to consider with each of those, and then decide what is the best fit for you personally based on where you are with your SaaS business.
So what I'm hearing is strategy first is going to be getting them on a call, validate your offer, and then transition slowly into where the offer sells itself without you even having to get on a call at some point.
Exactly. There are certainly cases in which you may want to keep calls as a part of your structure if you've got kind of a higher ticket setup, or if you're doing annual plans as the primary thing that you're selling. But for the most part, if you've already proven with a good number of clients that you can sell this pretty easily with a demo, the goal would be to take that demo call that you're doing live with that person and really just translate that into something that people can watch on their own, go ahead and check out. And the strength of the offer is really what allows you to do that. So making sure that that is aligned first is the top priority.
And when someone comes to the GHL Engine Summit and they see you speak, what are some actionable takeaways that they'll be able to get started and implement right away after watching your presentation?
Yeah, so everything I do, I like to make it really, really actionable and tactical. I know personally, I love understanding new concepts and things like that. But if I'm spending my time on any sort of training, I want to be able to take that information and directly apply it to my business. And so we'll go through the technical aspects of how you want to set up these campaigns. We'll go through what those funnels need to look like so that you can go ahead and start to set that up. We'll take a look at what ad copy and ad creative examples you can, use as inspiration for your own. So my goal would be to give you everything that you need to actually be able to launch your next campaign, regardless of what level of ads experience you have prior to watching it.
I love this. For everyone who's watching this, and whether we sent you the email blast with Allie's presentation, or you're watching this live or the replay, I got a chance to see Allie speak a few months ago. And when Allie speaks, there's speakers who are very exciting. And I'm one of those speakers who puts on a bunch of energy in the room. And there's also speakers who are very tactical. And Allie is one of those individuals who's very tactical. So, Allie, I'm excited to have you speak at the GHL Engine Summit. By the way, for those of you who are watching, it's a mega webinar for everything that you need to know on how to succeed with High Level, the platform. It's an online event, June 19th, June 20th, and June 21st from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if you haven't gotten your ticket or registered, go to ghlengine.com/summit. Once again, that's ghlengine.com/summit. Where you'll get the chance to see myself speak, Allie Bloyd, and many other speakers are going to be speaking at this. Over 20 speakers are going to be speaking, and many of them are SaaSpreneur Award winners. Like you can see Allie's awards behind her. So you're going to be around the top of the top. When someone is on the fence, Allie, to come into an event like this, what do you have to say to that person? If they're on the landing page and they're like, hey, you know what? It's 3 days. It's a financial investment. And I gotta really put attention on this. What do you have to tell to that person coming to this event?
Yeah, I would say ultimately the success of your SaaS business is really going to be directly impacted by who you are learning from. If you are learning from people who have never built any business like this before, it's hard to know if that information is actually something that you should be taking seriously or following. Just looking at the lineup of speakers here, this is going to be jam-packed full of great conceptual stuff, definitely some amazing tactical stuff. And there are so many ways to make money with High Level. No two paths have to look exactly the same. And so I think it really is about understanding what type of business you want to build, and then identifying what are the sessions and the speakers that are really going to speak to those things that you personally know you're struggling with, or you've had a hard time figuring out yourself, and then just take that information and apply it. So I think there is nothing more powerful than modeling success and you've got a great lineup of people who have found amazing success. And this is, such an easy opportunity to be able to model from that. And so I would say you're absolutely crazy if this is not something that you attend, as long as this is the type of business you want to build, and high level is something that you can succeed with, which something everybody can succeed with. So I think it's going to be an incredible event, and I'm just thankful to be a part of it.
Once again, that's Allie Bloyd, ladies and gentlemen. One mega webinar for everything that you need to know on how to succeed with Go High Level, the online event from June 19th, June 20th, and June 21st, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Go to ghlengine.com/summit to get your ticket. Once again, that's ghlengine.com/summit. Go to that landing page, webpage, and grab your ticket. I'll see you at the event.
I love it. Thanks.